I fucking hate you, Jesus Christ. I
What's wrong,
sorry.
Michael? What's
Hi, everyone.
wrong?
Hi, everybody.
I don't
Welcome
know
back
why he
to
did that. We're
Star-
really sorry. It's just not okay for him to tell you that he hates you all the moment that we've gone live. This is
I know,
utterly
it
irresponsible,
is
Michael.
unacceptable behaviour, and we apologise.
But also,
profusely
Michael,
on Michael's
learn.
behalf.
You think you'd learn by now that you need to mute Emily before you.
I don't know why you're blaming me.
the
Oh,
Goblin
that's-
Queen.
Don't blame Emily, who's been the recipient of such vitriol.
I've decided today that I'm pro Michael.
Because I'm a capricious.
I await with excitement the moment that she turns.
Timestamp it. Clip it. It's going to be within the first 5 minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to Star Trek Iskandar. When Falsehood seems so much like the truth, Part 2.
Which I think is a good title.
I've never believed you less. I think it's a good title. It's not too wordy at all. Mike made a great choice.
You didn't struggle to fit it onto graphics or something at some point.
No. Who would make a title so long it struggled to fit on things? Mike.
Who would know? Definitely
I'm not
me.
mad that you've now taken the longest title from What You Are in the Dark.
Meet me at my own game. Come at me.
No.
Yes, welcome back.
This is when a brick comes through off shot through your window.
The mantra that we're going into this episode is: there's no news, we're just going to cruise. There's nothing to announce, but we're going to get back to our Star Trek game, everybody. So, without further ado,
Are we using helps and hinders this week?
we are absolutely using helps and hinders. I even have one of them in the barrel from last week. It'll soon be revealed which it was. Yes, absolutely. We are doing helps and hinders. There was also a major hinder redeemed, or rather, a major dealer's choice redeemed last week, which is already ongoing. And
Do you mean a moderate?
I was going to say, I thought that was
I do
much.
apologize. I don't.
Oh God!
I barely know the system. I've been talking about major hinders today, actually, but no, we're still on the moderate. So yeah, a good chunk of what may happen today or next week is entirely motivated by that. So, let us set the scene. Interior Dr. Brott's laboratory, or rather adjacent corridors thereof, for there is two things that would stir Arkady Burov and Atticus Vance from whatever slumber they were undergoing.
Burov was in the shuttle.
Okay, noted. In that case, Atticus Vance. You are immediately awoken from your sleep by two things. One is that the ambient light changes from just a kind of a dull interior soft orange to red, flashing red, which your well-trained security senses has long since trained you into going, this is a problem. We're in red alert. It takes you possibly a moment to orientate yourself out of your slumber as you realize you're not on a ship red alert, but there is some kind of alarm system going on within the interior of the lab. The second is the sound. It is very loud. It's like metal being beaten against metal. What strikes you is the rhythm of it. It's always the same pattern. Bam, bam. Then a pause. Bam, bam. Coming from the interior of the lab, the kind of intensity of which indicates to you someone is actively trying to break something. What do you do?
Okay. I get up. I make sure I pick up my, away team belt, my kit belt with its phaser holstered in it. And we're gonna stick our heads out into the corridor. Should there be other people in the room with me that ain't?
you were likely in the. There's likely a ship because we're going for Starfleet prefab, which is essentially a situation aspect you can tag in this because this is fairly standard. There is likely only one sleeping chamber. Brot, who was in here previously with you, is no longer in here.
So there ain't no Brot, there ain't no Strange, but Burov not being here is not that weird.
No, as far as you remember, Burov did not return.
Okay, that's so concerning. Get up, stick my fucking head out the window, the door, with my phaser ready.
You have essentially imagine it almost like an L shape ahead of you. There is likely a kitchen area as well to the same side that your bunks are built into. And then the far end to the opposing side is the doorway into the lab proper. You can see that seems to be that continual flashing red light from within the lab. You can hear the sound of the banging louder coming from there, but no one is immediately in the corridor to face you.
Okay, also pop my tricorder with its, illumination torchy bit. And carefully pick my way towards the main room.
Heading towards the main room, your torch from your tricorder does pick up something on the ground. A discarded cardigan, the kind that Dr. Brot was wearing.
Oh, when we're saying discarded, it's not like ripped, is it?
Giving it a quick look over, no. It looks like it has been dropped.
Okay. How good is visibility in the from here to the main room?
It varies every second. When the red light is on, you have full visibility, but everything is caked in red light. When the light is off, it is complete darkness.
Okay. What's the duration of darkness?
1
Essentially,
second.
is it? Then I will proceed without the light on because I have some concerns.
Okay. You head closer to the source, and again, it just carries on. Bang! Bang! With that bang, we cut...
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Dude, cut away.
We cut away to interior shuttle. Burov. Every now and again, you'll hear, even through the shielding of the landing bay, just the odd rumble. The tremor even passes through whatever the Starfleet shuttle has in terms of suspension, which is probably very little when it's a spacefaring vessel. So you feel the kind of change in the weather. Your sleep is likely, if not already disturbed by conversations you wish you had the time to have racing through your mind, than this kind of turbulent weather you're feeling. The first indication that you get of something being terribly wrong is the deafening explosion of noise that comes from outside of the shuttle. It takes you a moment to realize that this was akin to a lightning strike, not something dissimilar from the weather you will have had on your native planet. But it is accompanied with a very notable turning off noise, if such a thing can be explained. There is a winding down of the ambient hum that indicates that something terrible has happened outside of the shuttle. On the shuttle's console itself, a few lights ping up, nothing too emergency indicating, but clearly there has been a change in the shuttle's current situation.
Computer, what's going on?
Scanning. Landing bay shielding has been depleted.
By how much?
Completely.
Oh, is it safe to go outside?
As you ask that question, you realize that in part what you had first thought was just the nighttime, the fact that it's dark outside at the for want of a better word, windshield of the shuttle. You can see that there is swirling fog just billowing around the shuttle and the odd flicker of that sickly green lightning. The shuttle is facing the laboratory because, of course, it would be, and you do get the occasional glimpse of it, but it is stormy weather outside, to say the least. And the computer will answer the question with, I would advise if you are going to... No, that's not really how a computer talks. General advisement would be to partake any external journey to the shuttle in a radiation suit or spacesuit of some description.
Understood. What's the base called? It's a research station, or?
It's an observatory, observation station.
Dr. Burov, to observatory.
No connection found.
Are they okay in there?
3 life signs detected.
Oh, good. That's not really an answer to my question, though. Okay, Arkady. Time to put on the big person trousers and go and take a look.
And we see Arkady Burov, a little bit of a montage of suiting up. It's one of those slightly heavy-looking, but doesn't seem to bother them when they're moving around planetside, shielded suits.
The EV suits,
Or the
also
big
known as the
person trousers, as we call them. Use the technical term, Mike.
Burov calls EV suits big person pants. That's fine.
That's what they are.
Only alone.
It's
Okay.
just you and Majel right now.
Computer, make a note of the situation. I guess.
Log recorded.
I guess I don't come back. That's pretty grim. No,
Understood.
I will come back. And I guess try to reach the Iskandar while I'm gone. I know that you probably can't, because of course you probably can't. If I can't reach them, why could you reach them? But
what message would you like to be sent to the Iskandar?
Send them an update about the storm thing situation. Just let them know the science. They'll probably look at it and go, oh, I know this situation, and then it'll be sorted. If I relay it to them, I'll relay it all wrong.
Confirmed.
Okay. Okie dokie. Time to open the door, I suppose, and go outside.
You can even hear the whistling of the wind from in here. Okay, I'm ready. The door opens. You are immediately buffeted, but as slight and frail as Arkady Burov is, you are able to keep your footing. It is going to be that heavy pushing through, almost like you're wading rather than walking, but the view is quite clear. You can see the doors that you are heading to. For the sake of drama, although I hadn't originally pictured it as such, I will say that there are likely viewports built into the topmost of the building, likely to let in ambient light, but not something that you could just stand and look into. But so you can see that even from this distance, between the peals of lightning, there is that red flashing light of something terribly, terribly wrong. Also, from your perspective, can I have... I will like an engineering check, please.
No problem.
All engineering is Scottish.
In fact,
I didn't know what my accent was doing there. Who am I, Dr. Burov? That is a +2.
Hell yeah, that's good. That is enough to know that from... You can see from kind of the smouldering and sparking above the kind of entryway, the above entryway for the landing bay. There is quite clearly some kind of energy capacitor has absolutely blown out, to the point that it would likely be on fire if the wind wasn't strong enough to have completely put out that fire. You anticipate that kind of external damage, with your actually quite decent mind for this kind of thing, could well have seen a power surge go through the rest of the building. Maybe that's the extent of the situation.
Okay. That's something I should tell Lieutenant Strange about.
Your voice crackles in that way that they do once you're inside the suit. You find your way to the door. Yeah, there is emergency power, and there is a hand scanning type thing. I always imagine them hand scanners for gaining entrance.
If I'm in an EV suit, how can I scan?
That's true. In that case, completely disregard the idea that it's a hand scanner, for it does not serve my narrative purposes.
There's an override for the hand scanner, clearly.
Yeah. In that moment you kind of punch in the override, the door half opens, then there's a fizz of sparks and it stops. You have a enclosed space that you need to squeeze through.
Good thing you're skinny, Artie.
And you start doing just that. Cut back to interior Brot's lab. Borov's lab is very far away. Atticus Vance, you round the corner. Ahead of you is the back of Dr. Victoria Brott, illuminated by the light within as she tries to take in what is going on. There is clearly a lot of disarray in the lab. The central table where a lot of planning and kind of the day-to-day work of her observations, as well as a few dioramas that she had made, has been completely thrown to one side. Every LCAR's interface has been blocked out completely from the usual readouts, and just are displaying error messages scrolling through the same line of text. The same can be said of a holo projector, which once had a fairly friendly-looking, hyper blown-up hologram of a nanite just kind of swirling around. It is just LCAR's errors going. There is only one other figure visible. They are stood at the tube that you know from Brott's explanation was where the nanites are kind of programmed. The one that she was saying that if you were to undergo her procedure with you, you would need to stand in there. The figure is on the outside. The figure is slamming their fist in that rhythmic bang, bang. And when Dr. Brott says, having not noticed you that you're behind her, "What are you doing?" the head snaps around all too quickly. Of the synth, you knew from when you met it and when you've looked at it, its eyes are yellow. But these are blazing, fierce yellow, the kind of which immediately speaks of something terribly wrong having occurred. What do you do?
So she said, "What are you doing?" And the synth's head has snapped round, and after it was trying to beat through into the nanite chamber, its head has snapped around.
Yes.
Like, Vance is leveling his phaser at it, and first, like, if it so much as fucking, like, twitches at us, it's getting... Oh, he's raising the phaser setting. And if it fucking comes at us, that thing's getting shot. I'm a simple man with simple rules, which it gets shot, and Vance will go, Doctor, maybe you should take a step back.
She does so. The synth does twitch, in that it literally twitches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to redeem a minor hinder that I had from last week. Between you and Brot, a door slams shut from the ceiling, locking Brot inside. That is at a +4 as an obstacle. It is that an obstacle that basically means for your efforts to get past it, you will need to beat a 4.
Okay.
In much the same way as obstacles work, I believe. But yes, the door comes slamming down. You hear the movements of gears within it that indicate a hard lock, and Avi, the synth, speaks next as it repeats in a kind of mockery of Dr. Brot's voice. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to bust this door.
The body turns to face Brot and it takes a step forward. Let's talk about you busting down this door.
Phaser's already set to the highest settings, so I think I'm just gonna blow the fucking hinges off and kick it in.
Hell yeah, go for it. That'll be a roll on phasers.
Neat. I'm adding +4, so I get a 5.
Hell yeah, you get yourself. That's a success +1, so I believe that's success, and you get a boost off that. I'm trying to run fake core. Do correct me if I'm incorrect.
Normally you've got to exceed the target by 1. Like difficulty 1, you need a 2, for instance.
Oh, okay. Yes, then you succeed. You aim a shot, blast it at the wall panel, and in the way of TV, these things working, the door.
I was going for the hinges rather than shooting a panel. Yeah.
No, I mean it's your action.
Yeah. Vance is not. I wouldn't assume that a Starfleet thing is just going to be you shoot the panel and the door stops working. He is literally going to do a blast across the connecting point for it and kick the door.
That is much cooler. 3 kind of succinct blasts aimed directly for the hinges. A boot. It goes slamming down. And yeah, it lets out a yelp. She's looking quite disturbed, but you enter the fray. Arkady Burov, you hear as you are just approaching the main chamber of the lab, 3 phaser rifle shots, and then the slamming of metal and metal.
Don't have a rifle. I don't think he'd have a rifle with him.
Forgive me.
Pistol.
I meant like just typical phaser. I don't know why I added rifle in there. It's hard not to imagine Vance without a rifle. But yes, you hear 3 phaser shots, and then
3 Smith & Wesson bullets.
And then the slamming of metal on metal in the room just ahead of you. What do you do?
I guess Arkady will fumble for their phaser, but like in that sense of someone's firing a phaser, I will also have a phaser, but also they have no idea what the correct protocol is in this situation from a tactical standpoint. Obviously set to stun, just if that's a thing that needs to be said. For Arkady. And I think they will advance slowly and like quietly attempt to hail Lieutenant Vance again.
All right. I suppose that the relay. Would the relay work for comms? Is there any?
Comm badges clearly have a certain amount of peer-to-peer connection rather than necessarily needing a hub to
That was
connect
my
to.
thinking. It's not like it's bouncing from the ship every time.
I don't think it always is. There is some indication that obviously a lot of the time it does bounce to a ship, but they clearly have a certain degree of just like people stranded on planets with no ship or shuttle have used comm badges to talk to each other.
Then, Burov, you do get the chirp of connection open.
Lieutenant Vance?
Where's this happening in my timeline, Mike?
I think we can basically at this point sync up. Essentially, if you imagine the lab as a single room, Vance is coming in from one corridor, Arcady's on the other side of the room coming in from the other corridor that leads to the exterior.
Right.
So
Burov will shortly be inside.
Yes.
All right.
First, we're getting I guess we're going to get the chirp, see each other conversation.
Yeah.
Which I assume will happen during this conversation. Lieutenant Vance?
Doctor, where are you?
I just arrived in the lab.
The synth has gone cuckoo. In the bad way.
Oh. Didn't know there was such a thing as good cuckoo. Well, where are you? I heard
Main
fits
room.
of fire.
Main room, keep your head down, but stay close.
Okay, of course. We should try and meet up, I suppose. Oh, I'm in a suit, so I'm not a synth. I'm just in the suit because there is a storm.
Sure, I didn't think there's. I've got it in my sats, Doc. So
Where?
Main room.
Oh. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't see. Okay.
Don't worry, Doc.
Would you like to roll me notice, both of you,
Yeah.
to determine initiative order?
No initiative. No. Three. We're a noticey gang.
Yeah.
What did you get, Vance?
4. Sorry, I was holding up. I wasn't just
I
waving.
apologize. I was not looking at you.
I just didn't want to start yelling numbers if you weren't ready to record.
No, you're quite all right. Unfortunately, Avi is going first.
Goodbye, Dr. Brott.
In this moment, Avi again twitches. There's that flaring from the eyes, and you hear the voice cracking as if its internal Vox unit is in some way breaking. Main objective overridden. New objective not found. Routing from additional source. Brought against her better judgment, does take a cautious step forward at this. And to that, the synth still looking in the middle distance, it will level a backhand for her.
Said take a step back. This thing's lost its primary objective, so now all it knows is kill. It's a common problem with technology.
It's what we all fear. The toaster's trying to kill us. That is phenomenally well on terms of a physique roll.
Fight, surely.
That's much less good on a fight roll. Still bad for Brot. Boop.
Physique actually covers very little.
It's just the hit points.
And like raw strength.
So Brock goes flying. Clashes against a piece of machinery to the far end of the wall, slumps down. You can still see that she's moving, she's groaning, but she hasn't quite... she's had the sense knocked out of her. Vance, you'll go.
Yeah, I'm shooting this fucking robot.
Nice. Give me...
Want none of this. It's gone evil. No phases. That is a 6.
Cool. It's going to take some of that on stress. I'm not going to tell you how much.
Mm-hmm. Vance, it's set up enough to definitely fuck up a synth rather than being kept on standard stun. And he's stepping back. He will do one of two things. Priority is to position himself as well, if not between the synth and Dr. Brot, but whoever else is closest, like wherever Arcady is, and also Arcady is in an EV suit and thus is going to be slower, so Vance will position himself to... He doesn't want to get into melee with it, but he doesn't want the damn thing to start grabbing Burov or Brot, so he will try to position himself between them and the synth.
Understood. You close distance to the synth.
That's not what I said.
You are shielding. I think it's a bit easier for you to shield Brot at this stage because she was on the side closer to you.
Yeah.
But you are in a position where if it went for Arcady, you could intercept.
Yeah.
From here, you can make me a notice roll.
4.
There is another shape. As you're moving to gain a better position, you look at the cracked tube that it had been slamming in, and you see that there is a shape unconscious on the floor, and you are... In the flash of red, you recognize it as Adam Strange.
Oh no, it's Adam. That's awful, and I have not processing this as odd. It's just horrific. The Vance will call out. Lieutenant Strange is inside. Looks like he's down.
Dr. Burov, what do you do?
I guess. Dr. Brot is moving, correct?
Brot is moving, yes.
And Vance has said he's down, which indicates not moving, like terminology-wise. In which case, battlefield triage, Burov's gonna try and reach Lieutenant Strange.
Mm-hmm. You find that the tube before you has the typical unlatching mechanism for the door is unfortunately electronic based, and the electronics in this place are completely fried at the moment. What do you do to try and enter?
Come on, is it technology? Brain. Use your brain. Is there... Go on.
I will say that the paneling of this, it is partially damaged. And that would be a situational aspect that you could tag in any effort to try and brute force this.
Is there any way to sort of, like, hotwire it? Like, the electronics are fried, but just give it the, go into the paneling, get two cables to bump together enough that the thing just shorts and opens up slightly?
That seems entirely within the remit of a Starfleet engineer, yes.
Superb. Engineering plus tagging the paneling? Tagging the paneling means I'm allowed to do it, correct?
No, the paneling is there in case you need to use a fate point and bump up the roll.
Okay, well, it's a flat 4.
That is going to be more than enough. No need to spend the fate point. You wedge
Arcady's
open
engineering
the panel.
background plays again.
Yes. You do exactly that. It's snapping out a wire, fritzing it, and there is a satisfying, hermetically sealed hiss of something coming apart, and you are aware that the door is now openable.
I guess Arcady will dash in and, pull the door closed behind them.
A very interesting move. I like it.
Because there is a synth out there trying to murder people.
No, I think it's an extremely wise move. Don't get me wrong.
I'm looking at the bottom row, and Kath is going, "Yep, I get it," and Roomba's going, "Why? Why?"
Dr. Brot is going to
Not
get
like there's
to
anything
her
bad
feet.
in this tube.
It's either a great idea or you'll die in there with Strange.
There is my unconscious friend, and I need to help.
There is that kind of dramatic streak of blood from the temple, from where Brot has clearly caught the side of her head. She looks a little dazed and stumbles as she straightens, takes one look at this situation, and starts to back herself into a corner. She is going to just grab a nearby wheelie box and just pull that in front of her for a degree of cover.
Basic self-care and not being a liability is still a good achievement for an NPC in this situation.
Yeah.
Better than a lot of PCs manage. Not thinking of anybody in particular who might have caused a liability in this scenario.
And Adam Strange, a total liability to everyone around him. Sweet Adam. He doesn't deserve
she hunkers down. She as a Starfleet technician, she definitely has a phaser, but it's nowhere near her at this moment in time. AV. The phaser strikes him right in the chest, staggers back. I say him, completely androgynous. There's sparking from the internals.
This thing personhood.
The voice rings out. Additional objective located. Knock knock.
Oh, hell nah.
In a far too sharp movement, reaches, grabs a piece of scrap, and then hurls it at Vance.
Okay. Athletics to evade.
Yes.
That's a range attack.
I got a 3 on the ranged attack.
I get a 4.
You do it.
I roll a flat, nothing.
You do the Starfleet roll out of the way, and it goes smashing into a display of beakers and what have you. And in that moment, the synth will kind of look around and then start retreating backwards. It's not taking its eyes off you at the moment, Vance. But it is walking backwards, basically towards where Burov entered.
No. That's where our shuttle is.
Vance, you're up.
I'd like to shoot its fucking leg off, please.
Go ahead and give me a roll.
Just go ahead and kneecap the synth.
That is a 5.
Go ahead and kneecap the synth.
I am going to spend a fate point to bump my roll up to a 5 because it was a 3.
In which case I will spend a fate point with the best defense is a good offense to reroll.
Go ahead.
That is much better. That is a +4 on the dice. So that brings that up to an 8.
Yep. So that's a 3. Quickly jot down a consequence for that. You catch it right in the leg. You see underneath the synthetic skin systems and mechanisms in place that would basically act as pistons to move it, and you are very confident in the shot that you have given it. It is hampered by that, but still upright.
I gain a boost against with because I caused that consequence, don't I?
Yes.
What level consequence was it actually?
That is a level 4.
Okay.
Moderate.
I think that gives me 2 boosts.
I can clarify.
As I'm the one who caused the consequence.
In fact, to keep it flowing, I'm going to say yes. If you can do me a favour and look that up.
Yeah, of course, my turn's over. Gotcha.
We roll around to Burov.
Let me go to Lieutenant Strange.
Strange is in the tube. What are you doing? I presume some kind of medicine check is in order.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the standard. Adam?
Give me a rolly-roo.
Rolly-roo. 5.
That is more than enough to get an idea of what's going on with Adam. Minor. It's not a fracture, but definitely damage done to the wrist. Looks like essentially concussive shock, but from the inside. There's no trauma to the head, but there is definitely a concussion-like situation going on, as if the blow came from inside. Very difficult to pinpoint exactly what that might be. That's the kind of thing that you'd see with someone who was maybe thrown back by terrible force, and the brain was basically knocked against the skull. But there isn't an immediate sign of any, even lacerations, any blunt trauma. Seems to be very, very internal damage that has knocked him out.
So I'm assuming that Arcades at least got a sort of field medicine kit with them.
I would always assume that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess first thing is going to be making sure that, like, was there a tube? Is it a particularly, like, narrow tube, or is it a...
A person can stand comfortably in it, so,
okay.
Yeah, and you're narrow in and of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Strange and Burov are not big people, so then just making sure that if he comes to, he doesn't come to, like, in an awkward position that he's going to hurt himself more in. Okay. Medicine. You're going to be okay, Lieutenant Strange. Something strange is going on here. And they will dosage requirement 0.4 cc's trianoline, and will administer a concussion drug.
Concussion drug? Administer a concussion.
I don't know what it's called. An
If you put two
anti-concussive.
concussions together, they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Or maybe because it was an internal one, if you put an external one, it's like matter and antimatter.
You apply your anti-concussive agent, Adam Strange. The last thing you really remember is everything that we discussed and was described at the end of the last episode. But you come to, there is a small klaxon blaring, red light every second illuminating the room before dropping you in nearly complete darkness, save for the odd pair of glowing yellow eyes on the other side of the room. And this will be your slot in the initiative order. Dr. Burov is looking over you.
In that case, I think most of this round is being spent, coming to. So it'll kind of groan shortly after Burov's had applied the anti-concussion drug, and like his eyes flick open, sees the flashing lights and hears the sirens, and starts trying to sit up.
It is
to try and work out what the hell's going on.
You see the synth moving through the room. You see Vance having recently taken a crack shot at it. But the synth is definitely damaged, but still standing, still operational. You see the very dazed form of Dr. Brock, who has made herself a safety corner, and that's her safety corner now. There is a situation ongoing. Mechanically, you're okay. You were passed out for dramatic purposes.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to arbitrarily give you any consequences on the back of that.
Not any mechanical ones, anyway.
No. There's some consequences, alas, I can't
give him a
stop from
temporary aspect which could be used against him.
Oh, you know what? That's such a lovely idea.
I don't know. He kind of just generates his own temporary aspects to be used against him.
Yeah, but
temporary aspect, you're done goofed.
I can't spend a fate point.
Temporary aspect, Adam Strange exists.
You, I guess.
Use it against him.
We will say that there is a floating temporary aspect. If that comes up, Emily, you know the situation that Strange is in, and we can work around that.
See what feels dramatically appropriate to name this temporary aspect when a suitable point to inflict it occurs.
Brot is doing absolutely nothing in her corner of safety. She is going to take this opportunity just to remain very, very still and hope for the best. For Avi, he will say, "You're supposed to say, 'Who's there?'" Will reach. No. Will grab the table that was previously thrown and with effortless strength haul it over himself and slam it down to act as a obstacle between himself and Vance, and is going to try and take this opportunity to get around the corner and get towards the landing pad. Let's see about creating that obstacle real quick. That's not super duper. That is only obstacle is sitting at a 2 in terms of target difficulty, which makes sense. It's only a flip
Only a
table.
Table, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want this AV to get to our fucking shuttle. So that's a problem. Vance is gonna then sidestep or move forward or whatever it is, which is gonna try to give him a better line of sight because he's still figuring legs are a good thing to aim for. I mean, it'll be awful when it starts dragging itself along by its arms, but here we are. And I'm gonna try to shoot the leg. I was wrong. It is only a one free boost to invoke a consequence if you cause that consequence.
Okay.
So I've still got that, but I'd still like to shoot it again because that's what I do. That is again a flat nothing on the dice, so that's a +4.
I got a 5.
I will re-roll using that free boost then.
Do that boost. The moderate consequence that I quickly wrote down is leg bad.
That's a +3 on the dice, so that's 7.
Oh, you like descriptive.
Leg bad. Yeah, I'll invoke the leg bad as it's hobbling, so it's all slower. So I'll have an easier time of lining up and get the good leg while the other one's dragging around and try to shoot that at a +7.
Well, you have immediately brought your nightmare scenario to life, as it has still got conditions it can take, but you were specifically aiming for the leg, so it drops. It's one leg splayed out, the other kind of busted at the knee, and then with hideous upper strength it is just slamming its hands into the ground and dragging itself towards the door, and you hear I technically can't do that yet. I'm going to do that next time. Burov.
I think in the situation, I know we're combating, but there's sort of the conversational aspect of it, in that Burov's going to be like, "Lieutenant Strange, what happened?"
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really remember what happened. Just what's going on with the synth?
I think whilst Strange is talking, Burov's going to be getting a painkiller for his wrist because, he fractured his wrist. I don't know. According to Vance, it's gone crazy. I don't know. But it's
right.
Trying to hurt people.
Okay, that's not good.
No, I imagine not. Do you have any thoughts?
No.
Good, great. Okay, well, I'm going to go help.
Yeah, let's do that.
I have no idea.
No idea whatsoever what on earth is going on.
No, why would you ask me? Why would I know anything about this? Why would I understand anything about technology? God, Burov, why are you being like this?
Burov's response of like, cool! Okay! Think that bump on the noggin was bigger than we thought.
Oh shit, want to be famous?
You want to be famous?
I want to be famous.
Doesn't want to be famous.
Strange.
Just don't wanna be
Are you
famous.
undertaking any actions in this immediate moment?
Leave the tube.
You exit tube. You are no longer in
That's
tube.
quite enough tube. Tube bad.
Now you are free of tube. Is there anything you want to do?
What's the? I mean, the synth has hit the deck,
The synth.
and it's just still kind of
It's
horribly
literally
crawling.
hitting the deck in like a constant manner. Yeah, it is not going down easy.
Vance will yell, what have I got to shoot to stop this damn thing?
Does Strange know offhand what the best part of a synth to shoot, or can he just provide an educated guess?
What's the line from Hot Fuzz? Not Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead.
Remove the head or destroy the brain.
Remove the head or destroy the brain. That is pretty true of synths.
It's true of a lot of things,
Didn't want
really.
to assume that it actually had a brain in its weird appendage bit out on the top.
I think you did the right thing.
Cool. So yeah, straight. We'll then kind of yell back. Back of the head.
Back, great.
Takes out the positonic brain.
Brought. Looking cool. Lowers her head.
Being not dead.
Miracle she
The
survived.
important thing.
Avi says, Althea.
What the fuck's Althea?
Althea later alligator. You hear the clunk snap of the external door opening fully, and there is a rush of weather billowing into this place now. You immediately, in whatever disarrayed corner the kind of odometer is, there is an increase of radiation in this area as the air comes billowing through. And most notably, the air is thick with kind of upkicked dust and soot from the outside, giving Avi a certain degree of cover as he begins to handstand stride towards the now open exit. Vance, you're going.
Are you kidding me? I was thinking like terrifying crawl.
Oh no!
Circus clowning its way out.
That's too terrifying for me. I don't want that. It's crawling. Crawling is better. It doesn't adapt.
It's broken legs dangling above it.
Yeah.
God, horror. Absolute horror.
Okay, yeah, Vance is gonna yell, Adam, get the doors! And I don't want this thing getting our shuttle, so the best thing, all I know is kill. So I want to shoot its damn
Cap it.
head, which thankfully is not necessarily the hardest thing in the world. Like, if it's crawling, like, it's gonna have a bit of head up, kind of back of the head blast. God, fuck this thing. So let's go for it. It's good. It's a +2, so that's a 6 on the phasers.
I am sitting on an 8.
Can only match it without, so it's I'm unlikely to do better on a reroll. Yeah, no, it's not
You
gonna.
raise the rifle, but the
There you go.
sheer amount of ambient nastiness that is now billowing into this area, the odd flash of the electricity sparking and hitting the runway, you just can't get a clear sight. You shoot, and you're not even certain at first that you missed until another burst of illumination, and you see that it's made its way closer to the door. Burov.
We'll have chased Strange out, and gone to Dr. Brott.
Brott, kind of blinking away from. You're in the further end of the room from the open door, so you're not getting as much kind of detritus coming at you. But she's looking a little worse away. You think that's a minor concussion that she's got right there from that slam on the head.
Then I think Burov is going to, Burov knows how radiation works and, can't bodily shield her with their body, but, will shield her from, the wind and shit like that. And, will deploy anti-concussive part 2.
Give me a medicine roll.
Being a doctor.
What nonsense is this?
That's a 5.
It's a lot of nonsense.
It's good nonsense.
It's good nonsense.
In the full
It's not like the
spirits.
bad nonsense that's currently crawling towards our fucking shuttle.
Gonna get rid of her stress, and I'm gonna remove the mild concussion as a consequence on a roll like that. You're able to, in the full kind of widdly woo of Star Trek, you're able to remove the nastiness. Strange, you're up.
Okay, we've got some doors that need shutting. So let's go do that. So, and Vance is going out into the shuttle bay.
Vance has taken a shot down the corridor that leads to the shuttle bay,
Okay.
but has not exited. That's not to say that Vance is not being exposed to the nastiness that is outside, but to my knowledge, Vance is not following after.
No. Vance is hoping that Adam can shut the doors before it gets out. Of course, I'm anticipating.
Yeah, my
he will
next
shut
question
the
was,
door
has
and
the
block my
synth-
shot? Yeah.
Yeah, my next question is, where's the synth? Has it crawled out of the door, or is it still getting to the door? Or kind of dramatically slam the door on its hand or something?
Here's the situation as I'll lay it out to you. It is halfway through the door. You succeed in closing the door, you will chop it in half.
Done.
Half of it will still go outside, but
Okay.
it will not have legs.
It won't have legs. It might have arms, but need your feet to reach the pedals on the shuttle. So that's a 5. Do I want to re-roll that? Because that's flat 0 on the dice.
I do not think you need to re-roll that, given what I rolled, which was not a 5.
Fair enough then.
I got me a 4, and I'm currently debating what I can do fate point wise, but I know you're just going to counter with another fate point because that's the economy.
That is how that economy works, Mike. So.
But it would at least deplete your fate points.
And
yours. You've got fuckloads. Yeah, I don't have many to
Yeah, do I
with.
still have the ones from
Yeah,
last time
I
as well?
specifically said you were going to be able to keep that, so yeah. I'm not going to do it. I gain nothing out of that exchange. It is, when you first see it, it is not quite at the door. And it is only through basically grabbing open a panel and starting your manual override. You see that it's doom, 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 heading towards the door. You see the heads out. You see the shoulders out, hand hitting the hard-packed earth. You have to look away from it when there's this flash of that sickly green light from the lightning storm outside. and then you are able to tweak what needs to be tweaked. You see the door come crashing down, a moment of resistance from its body before there is a wrenching crunch of metal as its lower torso is just completely ripped clean of it. And you have very successfully primarily disabled this synthetic human's lower torso in that it's no longer connected. We will move out of combat and initiative of the natural flow of things for a slightly more reactive roleplay. Brot, you're able to kind of deal with the major injury, but she looks just as bewildered as you do as to what might have happened.
Do you just mean by that we're just out of initiative and doing our usual thing?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was...
Sorry, I took forever to say nothing. Yes, we're out of initiative.
It was react to the natural order of things or something, and I wasn't really sure.
You know,
we're gonna do stuff,
off you go.
And we'd react. Like, sorry.
Off you go. React to the natural order.
I don't think anything that's happening here is part of the natural fucking
I'm not
order,
sure
given that we've got
he said.
5% scrolling out.
Yeah, I think Vance is probably gonna like double over fucking coughing and sputtering after having inhaled a whole mess of
inhaled half a
dust.
planet.
Yeah, that's Vance's next move.
Yeah, and Strange is probably coughing up much less than half a planet, but an amount of a planet.
Given the circumstance, Burov then immediately runs to Vance and is doing the "everyone just stay well for 2 seconds. This is
I'm alright. I'm alright. I mostly was just trying to not breathe for that, but then of course I took a good lungful right towards the end. I'm alright. Well, actually, I have no idea if I'm alright. I feel like all I've done is inhale dust, but who knows what that dust is.
No, exactly. That's why I put on my EV suit.
It wasn't a plan to inhale it, but is that thing still moving, do you think, Adam?
It could probably still twitch, but it probably can't get very far.
That's good. I didn't want it getting into our shuttle if it's...
It's probably still worth fixing up.
Yep. Get
anything
some
else?
external views.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't really remember what happened. I was finishing up in the lab, and then the next thing you know, I'm on the floor, and Strange will just kind of weakly gesture to everything.
Dr. Brot, you were up before me? What the... Do you have any idea? Did you see anything more? Do you have any idea why it would have done that?
Hayley's never done anything like this.
Good.
It's clear that something has gone terribly wrong.
Yes.
If we, it seemed to be trying to get to you, Lieutenant.
Yeah. Why were you in the chamber?
I was just fixing something up in there. I don't know why it shut on me.
What knocked you out?
To say I don't really remember.
Alright, just for the sake of my sanity, I'm going to want this as an opposed roll.
Yeah.
So not...
If this was D&D, I'd be saying, why haven't you rolled
empathy
insight?
check? Yes.
This is deceive versus
Deceit on my
empathy.
part.
Oh, Bros. She
Ross
believes
is
him.
Strange is the sweet boy.
I don't know, I've rolled absolute garbage.
Rod is sitting on a -3 for that.
I'm on a -4. I'm thinking I'm going to re-roll that because that's really bad.
But what are you tagging to re-roll that?
I'm a lying liar who lies.
Yeah.
Maybe Gwen should be here instead.
Yeah, I think that one's probably the closest. Something I can tag. So, yeah, I'll tag that. Like,
Maybe Gwen should be here instead.
yeah,
Gwen
it's
wouldn't
still-
have done this. This is true.
Yeah, the other ones are far more applicable for later points.
I think this is perfectly valid. You don't
Yeah,
need
I
my
think-
say-so on this. This is PvP, but I think that's perfectly valid.
Yeah. You know, I'm talking through what my choices are here. That's better. -3 on the dice. The dice really don't want people believing me.
What's the result then?
So what did you roll?
No, I got a +4. What's the
Right.
-3 on the dice?
Oh, I haven't got any points
Oh,
in the scene.
Sorry,
That's
all
the
I was
result.
asking. No, I rolled a +1 on the dice, so with empathy, that's a +4 for.
So
Yeah.
I was gonna re-roll if Arcady failed, but Arcady critically botched their roll, and I feel that it is dishonest to re-roll a critical bot. So I think Arcady, sweet Arcady, who believes the best in everyone, is going to believe Strange for now.
In this moment, Brought, kind of frowning at Strange, goes, "There was something wrong with the tube," and moves immediately to the inside of the tube and grabs like whatever nearby shattered screen tricorder is available. And she wouldn't call it the tube either. She refers to it
Chamber.
as the
Chamber.
nanite
Chamber,
chamber.
there we go.
And yeah, she's utterly convinced that Strange must have identified something wrong in that, and it's now broken.
Well,
I mean, he did identify that there was something wrong in the nanite chamber.
Adam, you had a concussion that was conducive with being thrown or hit very hard. So
Okay.
That might cause the lack of recollection. Doctor?
Looks at Arcady.
yes, of
Silently
course.
thinks, please back up my bullshit.
Yes, of course. It's quite possible that a trauma or particularly head trauma can cause a short-term lapse in memory.
Alright, but then I'm concerned as to what. It wouldn't have been the EV unit, because the EV unit was outside, and the chamber was sealed, and you were inside the chamber and sustained a concussion? No other
Apparently.
injuries? Just a concussion.
I think just a concussion. I
Oh,
mean,
and the
the
fractured
bits or-
wrist.
Fractured wrist?
that explains why that's it.
What kind of fracture are we talking? Are we talking like an impact, or?
It is an impact, yeah, on the side.
Yeah, but like, Vance is positing more. Did he fracture it like when he fell, or is it blatantly not that kind of fracture? Maybe I'll do some forensic medicine.
Yeah, let's do some forensic medicine on this shit.
Sus on Adam Strange.
How did you do on that roll?
No, I'm assuming like he was directing on what kind of fracture at Arcady.
Burov's given the answers. Do you need me to roll another medicine check?
No, you know what? I'm gonna cash in some shit. I'm gonna
Who
use
do hinders help? Welcome to What Do Hinders and Helps Do when it's PvP.
No, we covered that last time.
It's all hinders help strange.
Hinders help strange. For the minor help, which I'm going to give to Burov, I'm going to let you extend your medicine roll to understanding. Yeah, this is an impact fracture. There's, well, not fracture, but close to. It looks like there's been trauma to the top and bottom of the wrist, which would only be done if pressure was given at the same time, and fairly significant amounts of pressure.
So it's kind of a crush fracture.
Yeah, it's like a crush, but there's also a degree of wrenching too. Like it seems like at some point, imagine Strange was handcuffed to something and then was pulled sharply away from where the wrist was bound. There has been give, so there's a bit of almost raking from torn skin.
So it's kind of this motion is what's happened.
Yeah, down.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah. There has been a specific request for the use of the hinder by Sable Whisper, who gave it.
And of course, while people can't normally do that, Sable Whisper is our great torturer and alumnus of trolling.
I'm going to give this to Vance in a beneficial way, in that it will hinder Strange. Two things of note. One, you glance over the interior of the chamber. You see the readout of errors on the screen. There are 4 errors. The first reads, primary energy capacitor overloaded. The second, landing bay shielding depleted. The third, unexpected sequence in nanite dock. The fourth,
Expected item in back area. Sorry.
Unexpected nanite in the loading area.
Please return to basket.
Remove this item before
continuing. The fourth reads, cerebral imaging process incomplete. The other thing you notice is that there is a broken as if stepped on test tube type arrangement in the chamber itself.
Vance's gaze will flicker briefly to the test tube, but he's not going to draw attention to it. But he will look up at the messages and go, Dr. Brat?
Yes.
Could you please make sense of those error readouts?
Primary energy capacitor overload would likely explain the fact that we're on emergency power right now. I think maybe the storm has badly hit one of our external capacitors.
The others?
Landing bay shielding depleted. Fairly self-explanatory given the state of the... She adjusts her little glasses and leans in. Unexpected sequence in the nanite dock implies that nanites were activated in this chamber. And cerebral image processing. That is unusual.
What does that mean, Doctor?
Essentially, because she's not picked up on the social awkwardness of this situation.
I guess nor has Arcady. who is looking really intrigued in what she's got to say and is going to be continuing to scan Strange for like a deeper scan for like long-term damage, because he's clearly forgotten things, and that could be worse than simply a concussion.
Also, I guess Burov might be like, why did he pass out? What exactly happened?
Yeah. So Burov's doing a deeper brain scan while being like, tell us more.
With nanites, particularly of those that are meant to interface with biology of any degree, there is an imaging and rendering process that goes into their programming. Essentially, they need to understand the way that something functions and operates before they can then move on to start to tend to that.
That's why you wanted to give me the scan.
Yes. It would basically give them a groundwork for them to start working from. If it's the case of it's trying to improve, I don't know, circulatory affairs, then it would need a circulatory...
It was doing a scan of the cerebral, so this would have been a scan of...
A brain, yes, either human or positronic. But...
And it was interrupted.
Yes. Likely to do with the power going down, if nothing else.
Sure. Doctor, where would one be if one was being scanned?
Within the chamber.
Yeah, Vance now just like his eyes just
you
lock on Adam.
Do you think that maybe Evie could have been trying to scan themselves? Was interrupted by Lieutenant Strange and was knocked out?
Evie was still outside the chamber and Adam was inside the chamber.
Even
Strange
if
is looking at Vance, but
Yeah.
can't quite bring himself to meet Vance's eyes, but he's looking at Vance.
Doctor, even if
Slightly below eye level.
even if the scan was incomplete, would we be able to get some sense of the personhood of the individual?
Depends what systems we can get online and what can be recovered of this incomplete imaging process, but provided we can restore power, and that will require some external work from myself.
What does being inside the chamber and being scanned entail?
The chamber will be sealed, and then the nanites will basically be interfaced to. It's almost like a scanner of old. It will just deploy nanites to
just stand there and it scans you.
Yes. There might be instructions that go with it. Perhaps if it wanted to get a range of full cardiac ability, you may be asked to do some jumping jacks.
I understand. Alright, if we just step out of the chamber for just a moment.
She's finally twigged. I've rolled every time you've spoken, and it's basically
slowly creeping up.
She goes, "Oh," and does so, and then goes to quietly start arranging, just rearranging the lab, trying to recover little bits and pieces.
Vance will step forward and he will lean down towards the debris of the test tubes. If people could not move their feet otherwise inside the chamber, and if Dr. Burov, could you do a scan of whatever this is?
Of course. It's also quite nice that after last session, Vance and Burov parted on bad terms, and since then it seems that Burov's entirely either moved on or is just being utterly friendly to Vance. Like, there is no awkwardness there between them.
We had a row, then shit's got real.
Yeah, there's more important shit happening.
Also, it wasn't personal.
No. Yeah,
but
Burov
Vance...
will I think Burov will at this point also have been scanning the air to see if they can take the suit off. And likely has done, because the actor didn't want to be in a suit for the whole session.
Despite the results.
Somewhere over the course of this situation, Burov has had an outfit change.
Yeah, they have done that. They've tousled their hair back, and they are going to very delicately step over so as not to tread on anything and go.
Any idea what this is, Adam?
Looks like a test tube.
A medicine or a science or an ops? What am I doing?
I don't want to say everything is science.
Everything is science.
Everything is science.
This is science.
You're not working with machinery for good or ill. So this is knowledge, comprehension, and aptitude with scientific disciplines. So science roll, please.
Yes. Science.
Adam, I just want you to know I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. That's just giving off serious dad vibes now.
I mean, at the point where he goes, do you know any idea what this is, Adam? I was like, oh no, this is a bollocking from my dad.
Texas dad is mad.
Texas dad is not happy.
That
he
is...
likes it when Texas dad is unhappy.
That is a flat 0.
Mm.
And I don't think I have anything that I can really re-roll.
It's it's the kind of tube you're not able to really, from just looking at it, figure out what this might have been used for. It's not impossible that it might have stored a nanite sample, but there's nothing to immediately draw to that conclusion. It could just as easily contain water.
It looks to be one of the standard tubes that the doctor uses. It may have contained anything, a sample or
Alrighty.
I think the wind has disturbed it too much.
Mm-hmm. If we could identify what the cerebral mapping was, who was last scanned, and we can know if it was Evie. Evie. Vance says he doesn't anthropomorphize his toaster.
Yeah, we could get the technology on online.
Though, could it scan the Evie, Doctor?
Positronic brain can be scanned in the same way that a regular brain can be.
Sure, but from
outside, no. The unit would need to be within the chamber.
Actually, sure, but I was actually going to wonder. Sure, a positronic brain can be scanned, but I was wondering if it could be scanned by this device for purposes of nanites.
The positronic brain is built to be as close of approximation as a human brain.
Well, I imagine that'll probably show up real quick if we can get them records up to see if it's positronic.
Oh, it would be very clear, yes.
Then I say we get the door open to the shuttle. We move the EV into a secure location. We can hook up the power from the shuttle to the scanner and take a look.
Sounds very sensible, Doctor. If we can get some rad suits.
Of course.
Rad suits. It's going to be fucking rad. And make sure also that Evie's dealt with.
Yes.
Well, why don't we go and dig out some suits? Lieutenant, you can put on mine if you want to go and examine the EV, or Lieutenant Strange to go and check the doors.
Adam and I both go take a look.
I'm not going to be.
Suits.
Yeah.
I won't be a stickler. It's AV, the A5.
Oh, sorry. Yes, AV.
No, I personally
Doctor,
don't care.
I apologize.
It seems to have gone mad. So.
Yeah. Sorry, AV. Yeah. No. I'm thinking of a different robot.
I was just copying Vance.
I got it right, and then I got distracted by a completely different robot. You've got suits in the facility, of course, Doc.
Oh yes. I have one already replicated. I can easily. Well, it will take a little while to get another two, but between yourself and.
How I think it should be fine if myself and Adam suit up and go take a look at the shuttle yard. If you obviously, doctors, do what you can for the systems here for the records to assess our situation, I guess, and I am curious on to what exactly caused this and what was going on in the nanite chamber. But otherwise, let's suit up, Adam.
Burov will go with Brot to go and get the suit. But we'll definitely give Vance a look, because Burov started to twig Vance's tone. We'll definitely give Vance a look of like, what's going on?
Vance keeps quite stoic.
Burov doesn't push it, but it's definitely the look of.
Actually, I think Vance is more likely to do the I got it look for the moment.
Strange will just awkwardly put on Burov's suit, since he's the smaller of the two, but he's the one that's most likely going to fit in Burov's suit. So
it's got the science blue trim.
So
awkwardly put that on.
Vance will not say anything yet. If Vance says anything, he's going to wait until they're suited up and can go to the door.
I will offer at this point, because I don't want to stop this momentum. If we want a moment breather, I can cut back to the hilarious adventures of Cantos. But if you are riding this momentum, I am happy to let this ride out.
I feel we're in a momentum.
I think we're in a momentum on this one. Cantos can stay in the cupboard a bit longer.
The door is scorched from its previous partial and then complete opening, but enough of the system override can be reverted that it can a little clunkier than you would anticipate from a Starfleet issued door begin to push open. The storm is still raging outside, but the close comms of the suits mean that you'll be able to communicate to each other without problem. But your immediate surrounds in this landing bay area are mostly obscured. You do get glimpses of the shuttle, so that's still there.
But we can't really see, and that fucking AV is in the shuttle bay
where's...
somewhere. Where's the AV?
Where are the robot bits?
You do not immediately see it. That will take further investigation during the scene.
Right.
Okay. Let's do a quick sweep of the bay. Make sure it's clear before we start doing anything with the shuttle. So Vance will return to business mode rather than judgment mode, and direct Strange for a quick sweep of the shuttle bay.
This will be an investigation roll.
Cool, I can do that. I get a 4.
I get a... Come on. I get a 2.
You together are able to piece together what likely happened. You find where the opening is for shuttlecraft to enter and exit. In fact, no, I'll do it in this order. Strange, what you find is there is more machinery detritus from the capacitor. At a glance, it looks like it's mostly external fabrications, paneling, a little bit of the tech that you brought to help with the radiation shielding, but nothing completely irreplaceable. However, what you notice is that not all of it seems to be here. A lot of it seems to have been melted away.
Okay.
And that's when Vance, over your shoulder, notices the tracks. The long, scraping tunnel that is the AV dragging its upper half to this detritus. And then on the other side of it, limping footsteps as it has seemingly somehow gotten back to its feet, which you know are in the airlock, and begun to limp. It's a very heavy gait, and it has moved to the more person-sized exit to this area for any land transport.
Oh, hell no. That's worse than if it steals our shuttle. That's a prime directive violation. Oh, God. Shit, son.
It is designed for...
doesn't matter if we starve here.
It has been designed for skiffs and small craft to go through, and it seems to have... Kaiser Soze limped its way out.
Oh, is it actually out?
Yep.
But we can see it, so it's got a line of sight, because, Vance will have had his phaser to hand and is going to start, rad suiting, towards, and he is going to try to get a shot off.
Yeah, go ahead.
That thing, again, hoping for the legs, but that thing cannot get free.
Garbage roll. You're probably going to do it.
6.
Yep. You can. It's kind of shuffling its way down a hill. You raise the rifle. You crack off a shot. Not a regular ass hand phaser. You crack off a shot. Get it somewhere between shoulder and neck, and it hits the dirt.
All right, we gotta get that thing back in.
Let's get that back in.
Let's hurry towards the damn thing. Vance is treating this still as a potential live situation, so he's keeping it covered as he approaches.
Strange will probably have taken out his phaser, but
Mhm.
it's Strange with the phaser. He's not going to do fuck all.
If it twitches on the approach, it's going to get shot again. And once, assuming that Vance can head out and stand over it safely, yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
It doesn't do anything, so that's me waiting for the GM to be like, no, it's still coming for you.
It's making noises.
Back.
It's not moving.
Back of the head.
Back of the head.
I'm American Xing with a face. Fucking executing this synthetic entity. I don't want this. I'm a simple man, and it's an evil robot.
Oh no, I don't like that.
It's making noises. And you realize it's recounting something. You get an idea that it's saying a passage from some story.
Okay, sure.
The last words you hear it say, I ought to be thy Adam. And then you shoot it in the back of the head.
Fuck off, nerd. If you thought this was going to be this Promethean entity, Atticus Vance is shooting it.
Yeah, we're not going original style Frankenstein here. We're going for what happens in modern versions of it, where the monster just gets fucking shot.
I'm doing what Victor Frankenstein maybe should have done, depending on your version. I remember the Kenneth Branagh, everything was on fire. We don't want everything to be on fire.
It's true.
So, yeah.
I remember the Mel Brooks version, and do we want to break out the tap shoes? Anyway.
Alright, let's get that
Let's
thing
get it.
back and disassembled and not about to go wandering up to a pre-warp civilization.
And get the external doors locked down.
Yeah.
So we haven't got, at the very least, a shuttle bay full of radiation.
Go for that. What's it going to take then from there? We can drag it back.
Drag it back?
And yeah. Dump it in the airlock.
Yep. I think from there, it's kind of the slow process of getting things back online. This can be done easily given enough time and enough hands, and you certainly have enough hands. What is your primary objective? Is shielding.
Yeah, like, even if what it has to be is like blast doors down sort of job rather than putting up actual proper shielding, just something.
That kind of
in fact, actually, blast doors would be even better, because then there's a physical barrier and not just an electrical one that AB can shut off.
Especially also as temporary is fine, because if we start to get to like serious health issues, we can move to the shuttle.
Yes.
Like...
Exactly.
I think within the next probably half an hour, you're able to get the shielding up and operational. And alongside that, you're able to have things working in the background to get systems back online, rebooted. The lab is a complete state, from parts being physically thrown around to the amount of radioactive detritus.
Before we go back in, however...
Yeah, I was thinking, like, you say it takes about half an hour for us to get the blast doors down.
Yes, I do apologise. Continue.
Yeah, because, like, Vance isn't gonna...
Vance has brought me out here for a reason, and it's not just to go fucking robot hunting.
I mean, also, it's because you're the trained person, but once we're done with the outdoors work, because Vance is not going to try to distract or confront Strange while there's work to do, but, like, whatever point
Well,
we're
it's just, like, futzing around with panels and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But once we're ready to come back in, as we'll go. Lieutenant Strange. What happened in that chamber?
I told
Don't
you.
bullshit me, Lieutenant.
Okay.
Is this a conversation you want to have out here, or should we go inside and have this conversation?
I'll be honest, neither of those are good options. So,
Let's go inside and have this conversation.
finishes up last bit of wiring up panel. Puts panel shut. Something hums to life in the background, presumably as the work's kind of... I feel like that's the point where any work that is being done in the shuttle bay, that's the point where it's kind of finished at because, you know, narrative beats and all that.
It's because you're going for a blast doors thing too. That's the point that they activate, and so it's a doof, 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 as physical shielding rolls out from the prefab base and just kind of encloses this area, and it's a different kind of dark.
I'd love it if we could have a conversation, but I have a feeling that anything that we talk about is going to need to be discussed with the others.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay.
Quick look over at the AV to see if it's moved or anything.
Eyes open but motionless.
Go inside and drag this goddamn bisected, debisected killer robot.
Entering the lab, I imagine Brot and Burov are hard at work. Brot's probably mostly concealed beneath paneling and is working at getting systems operational. Burov, being a fully paid cast member and more important to the scene, is not so immediately indisposed. For Burov, it's been about half an hour. Strange and Vance come in, between them dragging by the shoulders Avi. It has somehow regrown its legs.
Reattached.
No, this is the thing. You drag it past its own legs. There are warped metal bits where its legs were. Yeah.
Oh no! I thought you meant like it had gone back and reattached its legs.
No,
right?
it found some metal.
This is turning into a bit of a Grey Goose scenario, I think.
Yeah. And in fact, I'll give you this one for free because Strange, you've had plenty of time to look at that. You probably want to make sure that's on something plastic or tarp. You don't want to have that touching metal.
No.
There's enough space on the table, which is now cleared of everything that was on it, that you can put down like sheeting and just put it on there.
Yeah, we're not going to make the mistake of locking it in a secure room where inevitably someone will make a mistake or the storm will jostle something.
Or it will just get into the fucking walls.
Yeah,
because we weren't looking.
We're just going to put it right in front of us as like a centerpiece while we have our awful conversation. There will be the corpse of the AV, and if it gets up, I'll shoot it again.
Yeah.
You do just that.
We are genre savvy.
House systems in here.
I think in the next 5 minutes we'll be able to restore enough to be able to get a look at whatever was going on within the chamber. Thanks to Dr. Burrow's help.
Oh, no, it's your system. How are things out there?
Well, it regrew some legs.
Oh. And tried to leave the base.
Yeah, so it got double tapped with my phaser.
I put the blast doors down. Keeps the radiation in the wind out and hopefully stops getting out.
We reckon it was the storm that took everything out?
Yeah.
Sure.
Seems to be.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like a lightning strike just hit the wrong bit of a capacitor. Overloaded everything, fried the whole lot.
Okay. Okay. So we can repair, try to get the doctor into a decent situation. In fact, Dr. Brott, sorry, what's your protocol for something like this happening with your mission parameters?
Well, within Starfleet's mission parameters, there hasn't been a breach of any of the Prime directives.
No.
So I can send out a communication pretty much as standard. There is no emergency protocol that I need to follow at this stage.
What are your operational needs, I suppose? Like you're down an AV and something weird happened to it, and you're potentially down an observation post.
Yes.
So are you going to want us to evacuate you or ensure you can get safely to a different obs post?
I think we're almost certainly going to need to regroup at Operation Post 2. It's the closest. It's due north.
That doesn't have an AV, does it?
It has spare parts for an AV.
That's okay. No, it doesn't have another positronic brain there, though, I assume.
No, the brain was the part I was instructed to take the most care of.
I shot it.
I'll be diplomatic in my correspondence with the Daystrom Institute on the fate of its prototype. I think they'll understand given the mitigating circumstances.
I'll take your word for it, Doctor. Okay. So our next step then will be, after we've secured this area, identified and ascertained exactly what went wrong, we're going to want to get Dr. Brott to the next outpost and essentially conclude our mission there. The other outpost is functionally identical to this one?
Yes, all three outposts. It'll be tidier. All three outposts are all the same.
Nanite chamber?
Yes.
At separate ones. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Over to you then, Lieutenant Strange.
Where do you want me to start?
What happened? I have no idea what's going on. Except that there's something you're not telling me.
Okay.
And you're looking guilty as hell.
Yeah. Never been that much of a liar. Picked a bad time to try.
What's going on, Adam?
Okay, so yes, I was in the chamber. No, I was not there trying to fix any part of it. I was trying to use it.
Okay. Why?
The bit. Before I answer that part, I will say that this, as far as I can tell, really was caused from a lightning strike.
Okay. Okay.
As far as I can tell. So that's as for what went wrong, but what would have happened if it had gone right? I was trying to reprogram some nanites. Some that I'd brought with me. trying to do something quite similar to the nanites you've been researching here, in fact, Dr. Broad. Though I didn't know that this was where your research had been going.
I don't understand. You've okay. What you're saying is you were surreptitiously trying to reprogram nanites, but for reasons for which you couldn't or chose to not discuss with Dr. Victoria Brad, one of the foremost, if not the experts, galactic expert on nanotechnology.
Yes, well, the nanites I'd been working with were of Borg origin, so of course I wasn't going to say anything. It's been a bit of research I've been working on for a few months, in fact.
Aboard the Iskandar?
Yes.
Where did you acquire these Borg nanites, Lieutenant Strange?
Not from you. I picked it up when we were on that Borg sphere.
Okay. What were you trying to do with them?
I was trying to see if there was a way to get to use them to undo progressive brain damage. A degenerative disease, in fact.
Vance is gonna kind of look at Burov at this in a like. He's clearly a bit like, is there about to be a fucking HIPAA thing going on? Like he's sort of, he's not going to be, tell me if you have a neurodegenerative disease. So Vance is very much kind of looking to Burov, partly also to see if Burov is having any kind of a moment. But
Burov looks genuinely confused by that sentiment, which, like, their face does not indicate, I get it.
I get it. That makes
your
sense.
disease. Like, Burov is genuinely looking like,
you don't have a disease.
Yeah. So Vance is looking at Burov.
If you're trying to remember my records, Doctor, it won't be on there because it's not me that has it. It's Sam who's got it. Though I don't know if he knows.
you don't know if he knows. I'm pretty confident I would know.
Surprised that nothing's shown up on the records, but I suppose it is something that's taking time.
So you're telling us that Samuel Casey has a secret neurodegenerative affliction, which Dr. Burov, his primary medical practitioner, does not know about. You don't know if Lieutenant Casey knows, but
otherwise I imagine he would have told Dr. Burov, but
you know.
And so do his mothers, which is how I found out about it accidentally
Okay.
at a conference when one of them was giving a talk about her research into a disease afflicting people who had been born on the planet Sam was from, and very heavily implied that she was driven to do this research for her own son.
All right, let's put the Casey family over there for the moment. Then you try to experiment with Borg nanites, which are...
Yeah.
There are a lot of words, and I don't think I'm qualified for most of them.
Yeah. From what I'd heard, it sounded like there weren't a lot of options left after 20 odd years of medical research into ways to tackle this. So I wondered if this would work.
You wondered.
Yeah. And so I thought I'd try some very contained experiments until I got to this point.
Until, and for valuable context, an accident occurred at the same time, massively precipitating the situation to be worse, but a situation which also probably would have happened anyway. I would ask Dr. Bratt at this moment whether or not there is any possibility that experimentation of unusual nanites within the nanite chamber may have had anything to do with what is currently going on with this AV. I don't know if there's any interface or a breach of the chamber's containment. What the fuck was in those test tubes?
What do you think was in the test tube?
Okay. So,
how it's affected that, I don't know though, because it was not connected up. It was sitting in its charging dock, not active, not involved with the process at all.
And the chamber, when was the chamber breached?
Was it ever actually breached, or was it just shit happening but contained within it?
Very much the latter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly for all the bits I was conscious, there was no chamber breach.
Okay. So, Dr. Bratt, even with the potential, accepting the level of uncertainty with the interaction, with the injection of Borg nanites into a situation, is there any reason why anything going on with a nanite chamber could have interfaced with the AV?
Nothing within normal operations. The AV unit is a secondary process. In order for them to interface, it would be a very freak occurrence. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but that is not meant to happen.
Nope, I'll take the chain of evidence, which does seem to so far suggest that the malfunctioning of the AV had nothing to do with the presence of Borg nanites, and you would have put them into the chamber? Had you done that at that point? Okay.
Yes, I'd taken them in with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put them in for reprogramming,
Mm-hmm.
and then it needed some biological input. So that's why I was there.
Biological input. It needed What would that mean? It would need you to give some live matter for the nanites to then thrive in, or it would need to then inject yourself with Borg nanites?
The former.
Okay.
Just needed, rather like what Dr. Brott was explaining earlier, a live sample to scan for this is what normal looks like for them to then program into the nanites. So it needed that this is what a human looks like kind of input.
I'll let the doctors worry about the science of that. Okay.
Which is also why when you find that cerebral scan, it's probably my own.
There's a little chime from a pad nearby the doctor. She brings it up. Yes, this the data is incomplete. The scan was clearly not quite finished, but this is cerebral imaging of a human brain.
That's good. At least it didn't try to scan something it wasn't supposed to.
Yes. She will move over to the synth's still body, produce a tricorder, and just begin idly scanning in the background.
Okay.
So, yeah. I think that's about everything. In terms of what happened, what's been happening. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you, either of you.
This is now a site of unregulated experimentation on restricted technologies. I think we need to close this site down, and all of us, including Dr. Brott, return to Starbase 183 and inform people who need informing, because this site is going to need to be fully contained.
Yes.
I don't understand. All right, can someone please at least just lay out for me? Nanites have been Borg nanite. I'm not as familiar with, say, the airborne properties of nanites. So what actual, even nightmare scenarios, but let's go with realistic worst case scenarios. If things have gone wrong with the containment of Borg nanites within the chamber, what are the possibilities here?
I will redeem a minor help from the model railway man. I can do better than speculation.
Okay.
She gestures to the A5 unit. The nanites are here.
The nanites are now in.
Right.
Dr. Burov, can I show you something?
Of course, Dr. Brod.
She hands over the pad that she's been looking at. You see 2 images. One is immediately recognizable as a cerebral scan of a brain, partially corrupted towards the kind of lower side, but is pretty much intact. The next image is odd. It is a partially destroyed positronic brain. That's weird in and of itself, and you can see kind of nodes where cortexes might be. And then the image changes and changes, and you see there is a slow movement within the scanned positronic brain where it seems to be being reconstructed into a match to the brain that is on the left side of the scan.
Okay, that's not the worst case scenario, at least.
It's not the worst case scenario.
You didn't make a drone. That's the worst case scenario.
Yay!
I didn't hear what Burov's horrified words were.
Does this mean what I think it means?
Yes.
Doctors?
It seems that a combination of Borg nanites and an advanced positronic brain has rewritten the AV somewhat.
Given
Defined somewhat.
the Borg nanites, as I just yesterday afternoon when you arrived explained, they have a protocol to follow. Assimilate, repair, return.
Mm-hmm.
It has identified, the nanites have identified that the brain is damaged, but they are identifying not only the matter damage, but they are identifying the positronic brain itself as a structural damage. They are trying to rebuild the brain within the A5 unit as an exact or near exact replica of that of the lieutenants.
Alright, surely that's not possible because they're without any organic matter. They just delete the positronic matrix.
Oh.
Right?
I can only assume that given the gaping hole, there isn't even enough of the positronic matrix to exist in there. However,
Okay.
it means that to some degree, whilst it was active, it had something close to the consciousness of the lieutenant. Were it to be repaired fully, and the nanites left to do its course, it would be a close to, a mockery of, but
A positronic artificial copy of Adam's brain.
yes. It goes to the synaptic level. Memories would be intact.
But it was an incomplete scan anyway.
Yes.
And it doesn't have the resource material. It's trying to duplicate.
Or that's a problem. Looks at the legs.
Okay.
If something like this is actually possible, and if it's possible to do it with whatever metals and ceramics are in a positronic brain, I don't think the Nanites will see the lack of resource as an insurmountable problem if they're able to just rebuild.
Currently, they're reprogramming the matter that already exists.
So, what does this mean in practical terms? What are we going to end up with here? We're going to end. Do you think it's going to finish and create us a creepy ass robot Adam?
They do not, and without any more material being brought to them that they can reconstruct with, and they do not have the same power as, say, replication. They can't, on a cellular level, it would need to be a comparable.
They don't have
component.
Material, right?
Yes.
Right. So we've stopped that in its tracks.
Yes.
For now.
If they were to complete their course, the missing part of the scanned brain is the anterior insular cortex.
What's that?
Oh, it's responsible for empathy.
So it.
Oh, lovely.
And at what point? Again, it didn't get access to these until after until after we all showed up and everyone started shooting.
Yes.
So I'm just confirming that that's not why it went.
No.
Murderous.
No.
Cool.
It went murderous. I think the surge has caused some. It's impossible to track what actually caused it now.
The surge made it try to kill us. Okay.
Yes.
That's
I like that shorthand. I don't like this situation. I like that shorthand.
I'm just trying to identify what. Just be clear on what's causing what problems. Okay, so now we're at least mercifully, if we can keep this thing contained, still on the stranded situation. Dr. Brott, what do we need to do? Is there anything that we can do, anything that we need to do right now, especially considering that already these Borg nanites have demonstrated the capacity to infect something? Do we have a decom protocol? What the hell do we need to do to make sure that these nanites aren't going to spread anywhere else?
Our best bet. She looks over at the chamber. Is to find a functioning one of those. Isolate the nanites before they can have any other additional input. I would recommend, Lieutenant Vance, you do not go anywhere near AV. Make no physical contact beyond this point. You have active nanites on your person. That is where a transference might occur.
I've only touched it while wearing this suit so far.
Then you will be okay. Skin to skin, for want of a better word, contact is inadvisable at this juncture.
Okay.
Keep the suit on. We need to take it to Base 2. Outlook 2.
And the nanites they're not still here anywhere in the facility?
They're all on it.
They're all on it.
Okay.
Okay, they would have gone right. Okay. Okay. So yeah, if it makes contact with me, it's going to try to rewrite my brain to be Adam.
Yes, or
yes,
your nanites might infect it, and it might get stronger. And
gotcha.
Neither's good.
No. Okay.
Oh, but a version of Lieutenant Strange with no capacity for empathy. Sorry, I probably didn't need to add that. This is already horrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, I understand your reasons, Lieutenant. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is horrible.
This is I'm trying to work through this situation in terms of immediate threat to us.
Yes.
And also not just the idea of Borg nanites going rogue on a planet, but also Borg nanites going rogue on a pre-warp planet, which has, aside from just implications of restricted material and technologies, has the capacity to be the greatest Prime Directive violation I could think of.
I did want to make it into the history books, but not quite like that.
I mean, I'm not an expert on Prime Directive, but I figure this would be one of the big no-nos.
I would imagine so, yes. What's going to be easier and safer? Taking it to the chamber or bringing the chamber to it?
Can we move the chamber? Can we remove it from one of the other ops posts at all?
They can be dismantled and put together, but it would take a fairly large. It's an undertaking. They take a long time to set up. It's not.
I'd also rather we all stick together if possible.
My mind is erring towards that. Yes.
Likewise, I'm just wondering about keeping it contained until we can get it into a chamber, and how contained it is in here versus how contained it would be on the shuttle.
Well, with the shuttles, it says surely we can replicate some sort of decent airtight, solid container, or even at worst, rip apart a damn torpedo casing and shove it in. We can probably get the patents to create some sort of airtight coffin.
Something temporary, yes.
Even if we didn't have a replicator, I imagine putting it in one of the suits would do as fine a job as anything.
Well, that wouldn't restrain it.
No.
And then we might have to shoot it, and then we'd have to shoot the suit. Like, I'd...
Airtight box is probably
airtight box, yes. Unfortunately, for travel, we're likely going to either need to go on. Well, we can't go out like this. There is a storm. Once a storm is clear, there are notoriously clear skies, and we're not too far away from habitation.
So we're going to have to take your skiff.
Yes.
Okay. Right. How far is it? How long a trip is it to the nearest observation post?
It depends which way we go. If we go through the ecodomes, whilst we run the risk of... I've been amongst them.
Nope.
Okay, then...
I'm not driving a Borg nanite-filled coffin into an ecodome. If nothing else, if we have a containment breach right now, the ecodomes are surely going to give us by a little bit of time for us to raise the alarm, something. Can we communicate externally? Are we going to be able to send word externally? Because I think that needs to happen. We need to give some notification of warning of we may need backup in orbit.
Yes, once the storm is cleared, communications will be fine. They only interrupt signals, external or internal, when the storm is occurring.
Right, we need to do that. We are not taking this thing through an inhabited area, because at the very least, if the ecodomes are there and we have a breach en route, we're not traveling until there's Starfleet ship aware of the situation. If not in orbit, then pretty damn close. And then that could buy minutes, hours, I don't know, time.
The best route for us then will be through the mountains.
Okay. How long?
Only a couple of days. As I say, it would have been shorter had we gone through the ecodomes.
Keep monitoring the damn thing then while the storm is going on. I want to have an idea of how much, if anything, this thing is changing, what our restraint options are going to be, that kind of thing.
Of course.
Or needs are going to be. Any idea how long the storm's going to carry on for?
They only tend to last a few hours. Okay. I imagine we'll be coming to the tail end of it.
Okay.
The only downside about them is that they're very sudden and very hard to predict.
Of course.
Lieutenant Strange, the only reason I am not placing you under arrest right now is because I believe that the success of this mission will be reliant upon your skills. I'm not able to fathom the... I'm not able to fathom this. but unregulated experimentation upon restricted technologies, just for starters.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to any work that you do, you are explaining the process, and I'm well aware of the fact that, frankly, if you wanted to do something else, you could start to explain things to us which we wouldn't have, which we are not qualified to understand. However,
No,
I'm not in a position to give you latitude at this time.
reasonable. I'll try and make sure you know exactly what it is I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
While we're on that, you mentioned that it's very clear skies. How visible would we be if we flew at night?
Night is one of the safer ways to go about it.
Also, what about low altitude flight?
That's where it gets trickier. The majority of the Themalians are within the ecodomes, and they rarely go out, but they do go out. The advantage of orbit to surface travel is that you are in one location, and the chances of being observed are quite small, particularly with the observation posts where they are. The route that we are liable to take will be over or around mountains that we would otherwise not really want to travel with anything that is a potential risk if sighted.
What if we went higher? So not flying within the mountains, effectively surface to orbit, round to the right location, and down. Can that be done in a single night cycle?
Yes, all being well.
Okay. Also, I'm assuming that just these nanite chambers, despite, I mean, you've got 3 of them here. How? Obviously, they're very complicated technology, but it's not possible for us to get a ship to bring something to us in orbit, is it? Is it?
Not like this, no. There is assembly required.
Okay. I guess at least we've got comms we can receive advisory on if we are simply to extract the damn thing from this location. Okay, we got a few hours. I know this is going to sound incredibly frivolous of me, but I'm going to go sit down in the corner and I'm going to try to get a little bit of shut-eye because I've not had that much sleep. And someone needs to be monitoring that thing at any given point in time. But we need a storm to pass. Actually, first let's deal with a containment. And then I'll get some shut-eye if there's any time after that for the storm to pass. Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Trying to not scream inside. I want to make a coffin for the Adam drone. Not qualified for this.
Technically, Adam is the idiot scientist. This is Adam's monster.
Yeah.
Dr. Burov is going to help, but it is very, very apparent that Dr. Burov, who has quite a loose stance most of the time, is that absolute sort of ramrod spine stiff of someone who's just like, I am 2 seconds away from screaming at someone.
And it could be anyone. It could be Brot.
Vance is pretty gone. Like, this is awful. He's not quite come out the other side, but he's slightly giving off that, like...
I think every time that Vance and Burov make eye contact, there's that sort of haunted look of like, we're both fucked up right now, but we're neither of us going to talk about it, just for a minute.
What do you say?
Like, genuinely, I have been thinking of things to say, and Burov's just been like, nope, don't say that. And like, I've got I've been churning them. Burov has been silent very deliberately.
Shall we, at this juncture, have a break?
Yes.
Yeah. If nothing else, I need the toilet, and so
I need water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do. Let's get
Break,
back here.
and then we can see what's happened to Cantos.
Well, yeah, we'll skip back to the whole Cantos situation too. End on a high. Why not?
Total whiplash. That's what you came here for, right, folks?
So yeah, we'll see you all back here at about 10:25. We'll do a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up for the night. But yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
We are
Bye
back.
now.
You motherfucker! I got that one. You alive? We all heard that. Lieutenant Cantos. Adina
Hey-o.
Cantos. Over the last hour, a few things have become quite clear to you from your position beneath a
Under
bed.
this bed.
One, likely the most pertinent piece of information. This minister, and now you've had the name, and now you've had the time to ponder. You are pretty confident that the person that this ship belongs to is not Tre Exantus.
You think?
This is the personal ship of Mr. Radovan Exantus, who is the Interior Minister of United Earth.
Oh shit.
You are relatively confident in this assessment. Tre Exantus,
Bugger.
yeah, it's bugger. Tre Exantus, you are pretty confident is their offspring.
Okay.
You now are pretty certain that the security detail have left the ship.
Okay.
You're not confident if you're alone on the ship at this stage. The Interior Minister might still be on board.
But the security's gone. Probably.
Probably. There are no more Starfleet jackboots moving around or rather, flat shoes moving around the security guard.
Basically jackboots.
Yes. You are pretty confident it is just you and the Interior Minister now.
Oh goody. Cool. From my recollection of the layout of this spaceship, how close am I to the exit? And how many times would I potentially be seen by an angry minister wanting to know who I am, why I'm on his ship, and what I've been doing with his son, daughter, or neither?
The ship is basically, imagine your typical school sports hall in size interior, with at one end a cockpit and a view screen, and then adjoining rooms which make up living suites, cargo holds, holodecks, and then everything at the back is reserved for engine and such like. Provided the Interior Minister is in one of the adjoining rooms, you could get out of here without being seen. If the Interior Minister is in the cockpit, you are going to be exposed the moment you leave this room.
Okay. Is the door to this room open? Or is it shut?
It is shut.
Okay.
It can be opened quite easily. It's a nice swoosh and practically soundless.
practically soundless.
Yes. It would take a high notice roll to hear it open.
If it'd take a high notice roll to hear it open, let's give the door a quick open, just to see what the sitch is.
I'm going to let you roll stealth.
That sounds like you rolled high. I don't like that. Can't doesn't even have a stealth. Probably nothing. They're not a stealthy person. They don't do subtle. Oh, we do actually have at least a point in it. Fair enough. It's a 1.
Excellent. You stick your head out. Look.
Mm-hmm.
No one in the cockpit.
Are any of the other doors open?
You check down the way.
Yep.
Seems to be closed.
Yep.
Opposite you on the other side of the gantry. Seems to be closed. Towards the engine, you see the Interior Minister holding a cup of tea, staring directly at you.
I'll step out the room into the corridor.
It may be of some comfort that the expression on his face is not immediately, I am being attacked, and he instead...
It's more just, who the fuck is this?
Yes, there is something long-suffering in the curl of his brow as he takes a little sip of his tea and then says, "So, your name?"
Adina, pleasure to meet you.
Adina...
Cantos.
Lieutenant Adina Cantos of the...
USS Iskandar. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
I rather imagine this would have been a pleasure in more expected circumstances.
Oh, yes, I would much prefer that we were meeting under better circumstances.
I'm going to extend a small courtesy to you, as I believe I have a good understanding already of what might have just transpired, but if I could ask for a brief summary from you to confirm or put doubt to my suspicions.
A brief summary as to why I'm...
In my ship.
Yes. I was invited aboard by Tre Exantus.
Yes, you were.
Who I believe is a member of your family?
Yes, my eldest. For my sins. The fortunate news of this is that this is far from the first time that Tre has done something quite like... I mean, not this. Not ever undocking and without authorization flying and looping or barrel rolling. I always get those confused. Which one was it?
Both.
Incredible. Astounding. This is not the first time Tre has done this. And so I will not be pursuing action to see you in trouble at all.
That is very good of you, sir. Thank you very much. I assume that the next thing you'd like me to do is, however, leave your ship immediately?
That's the second next thing I will need of you in this. The first next thing is just from me. And if I, as the first minister, the interior minister of United Earth, can give you, Lieutenant Adina Cantos of the USS Iskandar, any takeaway from this moment, any words that you carry away with you and for the love of God cherish and reflect on, I would ask that you reflect on why you ended up in my ship. I know that Tre is no angel, far from it. To be coarse, he's a turd. However, it takes two, if I may, to tango. And you have tangoed before me so many barrel rolls. So many. Will you do that for me? Think on it. Reflect.
I shall do that. So I will reflect on that and think very carefully about
long and
what's
hard.
happened.
Yes.
Long and hard thoughts about what happened here.
Fantastic. I'm going to let you walk away now. And I'm going to signal to the security officers stationed outside of this ship to let you pass.
Thank you.
Be on your way. And he takes a long, slow drink of his tea.
Cantos will go to the door.
He's not a
And
bad-looking guy.
Yeah,
Just
like
silver fox.
yeah, like Cantos is gonna like try and maintain the being charming on the way out, sort of thing, and as they go, they'll smile, and so I hope that if we do ever meet again, that it is under
Please,
better
no.
circumstances.
No,
and
not...
leaves.
You see two security officers, faces held at the side. He appears at the doorway, kind of gestures with his mug, and they just holster them, give you an up and down. Thankfully, it's station security, slightly different uniform, a little more casual.
Folks who don't know me,
They don't know you. You saunter away from the ship.
There's probably that kind of like thing that Riker occasionally does, where it's like the pull down of the uniform to straighten it.
Yes, I think that's peak. Where do you go following this?
Where am I gonna go next? I kind of want to find out where Tre's got to. Based on the information that I've got, it sounds like they're going to be pretty much back where I found them.
Yes.
Or somewhere similar.
That is pretty understandable. That's a good guess. It was like almost like a sports bar you were at. A lot of synth ale being served, very recreational area. You do see a couple of Iskandar crew kind of knocking around, just enjoying their time on the starbase, unaware of any horrors that might be occurring elsewhere nearby in the universe. You enter, and Tre is not immediately visible. You've got a couple of people that have been around long enough. Like the bar staff haven't changed whatsoever. But no immediate sign of Tre.
Okay. I guess I'll go if the bar staff haven't changed.
Yeah.
Go ask if they've seen them.
It is a Bolian kind of wiping down the surface of the bar. Glances up at you. How can I help?
I'm just looking for a friend of mine. We were in here earlier, but got separated after we left. I was wondering if they'd come back. And gives a short description of
hot science twink. I describe a hot science twink.
I describe a hot twink.
Hot twink. Science, maybe not actually. You can roll me.
Looks like a nerd. Don't know if they're actually into science.
Give me a notice as you describe Tre.
Okay, that's a crit on the dice. So what was my actual notice? That's 7.
That's the best you could possibly do.
It is indeed the best I could possibly do, because 6 on the positive, 1 on the negative. So,
as this bartender starts smacking their chops and starts pondering, you're being told, Tre. They don't know their name. Someone like that was here briefly. Left soon after. You give a casual look around and you see 2 Ferengi sat at a table. Their ears, massive as they are, have perked at this description and are looking. One of them has slapped the other on the arm. You see a hushed conversation, conspiratorially a gesture over to you. It seems like they've picked up on the description and are paying close attention to you.
Nuts. Did the bullion say when they left or which way they went out?
They left about 15 minutes ago through the main entrance, and so they could be anywhere on the starbase at this point.
Okay.
You can definitely rule out the ship.
Yeah, not the ship and not this bar. Okay, in that case, I think next move is go on a meandering walk back in the kind of very vaguely in the general direction of the Iskandar, but certainly not a direct walk back, just to see if I find Tre anywhere on the way.
Continuing on from the critical success that you got, as you leave, you're very confident that these Ferengi are following you. They're doing a really bad job at following you. They probably think they're really sly, but they're not. They're Ferengi. And they're just tailing you about 20 feet back, 30 feet back, stopping at odd windows and displays and pretending to take an interest, but they are definitely tailing.
Cool. Adjust the meandering route and see if we can lose them by just walking through a crowd. If there is one anywhere.
The crowd is thin, and it's a really well lit, bright starbase. The great news is there aren't back alleys where these guys can shiv you.
Which is good. I like not being shivved.
They seem to be coming to much the same conclusion. And you get the feeling that they're now moving to try and catch up with you. You can still try and let slip if you want, but
if they're trying to catch up, if they're trying to catch up with me and there's not an obvious way to let slip, then what Cantos will do is kind of carry on walking a bit until they find a corridor, go around a corner, and then just pretty much as soon as they got around the corner and are immediately out of the Ferengi's sight, and as they're presumably hurrying along to try and follow, just lean casually against the wall on the other side of the corner and wait.
That takes them by surprise. There are 2, one shorter, one taller. When they round the corner and they see you, there is a surprised yelp from the taller that earns a backhand to the arm from the shorter. There's a little bit of pseudo-comedic bickering between the two of them before the shorter one approaches. Says, "Forgive me, friend, but I couldn't help but overhear. You know Tre Exantus."
I certainly know of them, and it sounds like you do as well.
We know them quite
What's your business?
famously. Our business is to the tune of 6 bars of Latinum. That is owed to us. That's, yes. Your flirtation. You don't understand wealth. I understand.
Yeah,
It's
not really our specialty.
I apologize for your lack of comprehension in this regard. I hope that one day the Federation sees the light and can return to a more commercially viable existence. However, it remains true that Tre Exantus owes us Latinum,
Mm-hmm.
and we want it back.
Well, fortunately, I don't know where they are.
But you could help us find where they are.
I could.
We can make it worth. Federation. How about for now we furnish you with a message?
Go on.
We won that money fair and square. If Tre had no interest of repaying us, they should never have raced us. We want the Latinum back.
Mm-hmm.
We want what we are owed. Or we're going to take Starfleet. What is owed another way.
I see. Well, if I see Tre before you do, then I shall pass on the message.
In that case, it is a pleasure doing business with you. My name is Dawes. This is my brother, Depp.
Adina, nice to meet you both.
I hope it's going to be a profitable arrangement, having met you, Adina. You look like a trustworthy sort.
You flatter me, but thank you.
Well, we will let you be the messenger.
Do they leave?
Yeah.
Or are they still following me?
No, they're done with you.
Okay, good.
No, it's awkward actually. We were going this way.
I apologise. Yes, we're heading to the habitats. We're heading. Oh, you're docked down there.
You know, I'll just go the other way around. It's all right.
A perfectly acceptable arrangement. Yes. Come along, Dawes. Depps squawks off. Yeah.
Right. Well, now that I'm not trying to shake up a couple of Ferengi.
Heading back to the Iskandar?
Yeah, just wander back towards the Iskandar. Yeah, like, still keep it, again, still a bit meandering. But now it's just meandering in case I bump into Tre, rather than I'm trying to get rid of these Ferengi. Why am I being followed by Ferengi? Make it stop.
Give me another notice.
Notice. That's a 3.
You do spot Tre quite far away. It's as the Ferengi are leaving. You spot kind of on the other side. Imagine kind of
where the Ferengi are going, or
no? I imagine it like imagine a shopping mall where you've got large spaces, and then inside the middle is like planters. But instead of planters, you've got gantries that open out to nothingness other than like further layers of the starbase. Tre is on the other side of a gantry, quite a far away, but has clearly observed this interchange and gives you something of a cheeky wink, and undetected by the Ferengi, starts to saunter in a direction away from the Iskandar. You'll have the choice now to follow Tre or go to the Isk.
I'm following the twink.
All right. We cut back. We will return to the Twinkie adventures of Lieutenant Cantos next week. We cut back to the exterior of Brot's lab, the landing bay. We see the shuttle. The storm has cleared. We see the deadlocked shielding starting to retract, and a flicker of blue light as the energy shielding returns into place. In this time, power has been restored. However, we find Strange, Burov and Vance and Brot looking at the shuttle itself. You all gain a fate point as it is clear, looking at the external, I want to say thruster, you know what I mean, that the ship is balanced on. There is almost a large swipe of metal taken away, as if dissolved by some clean and neat acid, which bears a very similar detraction from it as did the metal detritus from the paneling that had fallen down. It seems that on its exit from this place, metal was not only taken from that, but from critical components to the thrusters of the shuttle. Strange, you have only just come to the conclusion that this vessel will not survive orbit. It doesn't have the thrust to get there.
And yep, Strange will relay that he thinks that it doesn't have the thrust to get to orbit and probably isn't space-worthy either. It's probably only atmosphere capable.
Alright, we're gonna need a lift off this rock eventually. All the more reason to put in the call to Starbase 183. And I guess we're taking the skiff to the nearest outpost.
Looks like it.
I'm still not happy with the idea of us cutting through the eco habitat, so...
No, we shouldn't.
What will taking the skiff entail?
It will be a route around and partially through the mountains. The skiff is able... There are caverns that will allow skiff transport. It is not the most tidy of vessels, but it will do. It's their technology. The natives, the Tamalians. I recommend travelling in the AV suits.
Oh.
Okay.
Bring sparrows, if we can. And get ready for a couple days through the mountains.
What will we be doing to avoid contact with the Tamalians? Is there anything we can do?
They very rarely leave the ecodomes. There is nothing out here for them other than scavenging for parts of their lost worlds, which is a risk, but...
It doesn't go, all like angry raiders going through the wasteland looking for stuff, and they might view us as stuff, right?
Oh, no, Mike would never do that to you. No,
I don't want to be Mad Max.
I kind of do.
Not with that cargo.
We're
not having Mad Max cross with the Terminator.
The great thing is about the AV suits is that we are able to... We don't need to full-face disguise. They would see us if we were without helmets, then they would not have the horn-like protrusions. But we are passable in our suits.
Sure, that wasn't my question, Doctor.
Oh, then repeat the question. I was answering a different
question. We're not going to be waylaid by any. I mean, I hate to use the word bandits, but I'm going to use the word bandits.
Oh, no, not that I've ever known of.
All right, that's the thoughts never occurred to you before kind of reaction there, Dr.
Well, yes, but I have lived here for 5 years.
Okay, and it's all right. That doesn't happen. That's good.
Yes.
Yes.
I think from there, we see the
the situation needs to get unfucked.
We see an overhead view, Prot starting to wheel out this hovering land speeder like skiff.
The camera draws back to a convoy. Someone's at the top of it, wielding an electric guitar which spews flames.
Someone's at the end of one of them sticks that were waving around, covered in explosives.
The camera pulls back to the top of a nearby mountainside, where as it pans backwards, pulls is the right word. We see an ankle. And the camera cuts to a shot of a alien-looking AV suit, mostly earthen in colours with bright sprayed streaks of yellow paint on it. We see that the reflection in the visor is clearly that of the landing bay beneath, and they raise an unusual-looking rifle and cock it.
You say unusual looking.
Very to be sexy. Continued.
Is it very? Yeah. Is this sexy or alien?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Is this being wielded by an incredibly sexy space pirate or a weirdo alien?
Yeah. Is this sexy space pirate bandit or is this pirate bandit from Mad Max who's going to fuck us up?
It's wielded by someone in a radiation suit.
Very sexy, then.
Very sexy.
Sexy.
The bright colours, maybe kind of like cyberpunky sexy, but
okay, no, that's bad. They're not sexy.
That's not
okay. I don't know what the criteria is.
They're not
no yellow spray
they're not
paint for a
incredibly
start.
handsome underneath it is really what we're worried about.
I'm determined to find this person sexy regardless.
Yeah, we have got one of the MVs with us. That's how this works.
Ladies, gentlemen, both and neither. Oh, Star Trek Iskandar.
Can we
I hate how well I know you as well. Where it's just like, okay, here's our synth. It tells knock jokes. It's our servant that's going to try to kill us and try to break in while telling knock jokes. We do have to travel through the wasteland, and no one comes out here except for if they're just scavenging. Are we going to get attacked by Mad Max bandits?
It's all going to go very Mad Max.
I hate how well I know you.
What I actually have in my head is there is a clip on YouTube where someone has taken clips from Mad Max and set it to a metal version of the Benny Hill theme. That is what I have in my head. So
that sounds like
people watching, go Google that. That's going to be next week.
Can we do one thing that doesn't involve the fucking Benny Hill theme?
No.
Can one plot, please?
Also, this person probably is an alien, because if I recognise, like, a weird alien, not a sexy alien, because if I recognise the NB's patterns of tropes, is that Cantos always seems to go for the humanish ones, like the ones that are either human or cute human. Burov's the monster fucker. Like...
Yeah, fair.
Christ.
I can't believe I'm going to have to shoot
so that's also
a fucking Mad Max convoy. I'm going to have to kill Immortan Joe, who's going to get turned into Adam Strange.
Immortan Strange!
No! So this world just becomes the Mad Max Adam Strange world.
How did you do with your Star Trek plot, Mike? Fucked it. What can I say?
Mike, why have you written Mad Max Planet of the Strangers?
That's the full title now.
That's probably shorter.
Wow,
than the
we weren't
existing
even on the
title.
full title already.
No, the title's getting replaced with a shorter title, which is Mad Max Planet of the Strangers. Also some things that are Starbase.
Look, if this is to be Stranger's last hurrah, we might as well make it a Mad Max Fury
All
Strange.
the strangers are. Then this will be good, because if we lose Adam Strange, which we may be about to, we'll have a spare which hasn't conducted any violations of Galactic.
See?
Jesus Christ.
Just pick one from this whole planet's worth. Which
And
one of
thing is,
these?
they also remember only everything up to the moment of, going into the chamber.
And have no empathy.
And how would we notice? It's trying to kill us. Yeah, Adam, I know. Just put it down.
Yeah, whoever's security after Vance just gets briefed to carry a spray bottle everywhere.
That's how it
No,
becomes
bad
Mad
engineer.
Max world. It's because they're all Adam Strangers, so they're all technological geniuses with no empathy. So it does.
Mad Max
they
Planet,
just-
but they're all Starfleet engineers.
That's why it goes so fucking bananas. We have no empathy. What are we gonna do? We're gonna weld things together and use science.
Hey, great news. The pre-warp species found warp. That is great. It's not.
Want Reavers? That's how you get Reavers.
Mike, why have we made Reavers in your episode? Why have you written
This
this?
is my
for
new
us?
arc villain.
God.
Reoccurring.
Like, if this wasn't going to be Vance, if Vance already wasn't, I think I might leave Starfleet. I no longer have that hunger for the unknown. Like, the mysteries no longer fill me with awe anymore. I've resolved a lot of my shit from the past, and I've been to a harrowing command experience, which has really reminded me that I don't really want to have to deal with, people dying around me all the time, or being responsible for lives. And also, fuck this planet. Fuck this planet in particular.
You know what's even worse is, if you end up with Planet of the Strangers and they're all Starfleet engineers, so they'll probably go from current tech to warp tech very quickly. You haven't got a Planet of the Strangers at that point, because they'll have gone off world.
We've created a new Borg collective. I mean, to be fair to Vance, retirement isn't gonna be an option. We're gonna get fired.
Yeah, I predict all three of the player characters that are on this main adventure, fired,
Into the
arrested,
sun.
retired, but one of those, come on now, we're done with you. Off to your medical pod where we're going to be poking you with sticks for the rest of your life.
The good news is that Arkady Burov is the least culpable.
I had a thought about this, and it will likely come up.
I didn't do anything.
But let us just say that off the back of this, Arkady Burov, who might not be super culpable, is having a lot of thoughts about things that they can't control.
Do you want to wind us up, Izzy? You want to
Yeah.
wrap this puppy up?
I think we've been wound up enough already.
I don't know what you mean.
But because I am so wound up and so completely devastated by everything that's happened, I am once again going to read off our beloved patrons. But because the column isn't growing again, I'm just going to read them up until the point that the column cuts off their name. So if you wish to join these excellent people and have me butcher your name deliberately, but also by accident as dictated by the column width of the Patreon table, then you can go over to patreon.com/itucrew to support us in all the things that we do, even the inadvisable ones that are bad. Therefore, get your trash bags ready to send your love to these excellent guys, gals, both and neither. The Arm, Ken Poyne, Kiwi Toko, Photosci, Eligos Al, Liz Murphy, Michael, Andre Joe, Lou Sutcler, Araloki, Socky, Henry Prr, or Henry PR, it's his new company. Caffeine, Hobbs _ Mike Kilb.
Hey!
James M. Mike Feel, Michael, and of course, everybody's almost favouritely named member of the It You Trash fam, Helena.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for that wonderful list, Izzy. And we'll see you next time.